Hello world, welcome to the 97th climate change emergency protest here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It is October 16th, 2020. Next week's rally will be the 98th, and that'll be on October 23rd, 2020. As I said, this is the 97th. Right now the CO2 level is 411 parts per million. It's been hanging in there somewhere around there for the last month. It should be going down faster than that, but it hasn't. Last year is 408.2 parts per million, I think. The significance of that, as I said many times, is that the 200 mark to 280 parts per million is a safe zone for growing food and keeping a stable environment with little feedback loops as far as climate change goes and the melting of ice and things like that. So 200 to 280, we're at 411 parts per million. And if you factor in methane, the initial discharge of methane from the oceans and permafrost is somewhere around 162 parts per million added on. So somewhere around 650, 700 parts per million is the level of where we are right now with CO2. Right now there's too much to talk about concerning climate change and what's happening around the world, but I'll try to get into it. I'll just cover the subjects, and each one I literally could talk for 2 to 3 hours about climate change and what's happening around the world. So right now you got the oceans, which are running a dangerous game here with CO2 because they're saving our world as far as absorbing CO2 from the atmosphere. Sea life, the more the oceans warm up, the lower the oxygen level and the less gas it can hold on to. So it can hold on to oxygen as well, and also the CO2 will be discharged from the oceans as well as they heat up. Presently, acidification is happening in the oceans, and what that does is also destroy the pteropods, which are the basis of all life in the oceans. They're the little shelled creatures within the oceans. The oceans, as said, are heating up at the rate of 5 atomic bombs per second in heat, so that's a significant amount. If the oceans die, we die. And, there are many feedback loops, such as slowing down of the oceans, and then you get algae blooms, and then you get hydrogen sulfide, which is a planet-ending gas as far as life on Earth, and mammals especially. You have Arctic sea ice loss going on in the Arctic. It's the lowest level at this point ever for this time of year in the Arctic. You have methane discharge and permafrost discharge as the Arctic and the Arctic Circle heats up, such as around Siberia and the land, but also under the shallow seas of the Russian seas, the 4 Russian seas as well. You have the Milne Glacier collapsed in Canada 2 days ago, which was the last continuous ice shelf, I think it was, in Canada. Those from Canada can expand upon that and put down what the significance of the Milne ice shelf is. You have fires in the western United States right now, all the way from Colorado to California, up to Washington, down to Oregon. So you have a significant amount of fires going on. You also have fires in Central Africa and also the Amazon going at exponential rates. You have drought in the United States. Two-thirds of the United States is in total drought or some degree of drought. Severe drought is occurring in the western United States tier states, such as Canada, Nebraska, Oklahoma, and all the way west to the west coast. Also, Hawaii is experiencing severe drought, and parts of Alaska. West Australia is experiencing severe drought. Who knows? I don't know what the vegetation is like in West Australia, and I invite anyone from Western Australia or Australia in general to post what the vegetation is like in Western Australia. But they're under severe drought, and if they have vegetation, it's going to be under fire alert very soon, or fires are happening right now. I don't know. The Himalayan glaciers, the glaciers of the Alps are predicted to have severe collapse and disappearance over the next 30 years. They're considered the third pole of the world, because you have the North Pole, South Pole, and then also the glacier region of the Himalayas and the Alps. Siberia yesterday I think, was 82 degrees. And that's for October. That's unheard of. So you run the risk of fires in the peat area and the taiga, the forest, and discharge more CO2 into the environment because the permafrost continues to melt there. Antarctica, you have the Thwaites Glacier and the Pine Island Glacier, which is in danger of collapse this winter for us, which is their summer. If that happens, doesn't sound like much significance, but it would be a 9-foot rise in sea level. And I don't know why the screen's going dark all of a sudden. I guess I'm going to get rained on. So it'd be a 9-foot rise in sea level. Well, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it would totally upset the whole ecology system and biosphere in the United States and around the world. It would totally change the growing seasons and it would affect growing around the whole world, as far as, and also patterns of the jet stream and also the ocean currents. So I don't think we need a whole collapse of the entire glacier system for something bad to occur. All you need is a sea level rise such as the Thwaites Glacier or the Pine Island Glacier collapsing, and we'd have significant problems around the whole world, let alone flooding. I don't know why the screen's dark. It's really weird. So you have the jet stream could be potentially affected as well with the collapse of the glaciers. So politics in the United States and around the world. United States, we're going through severe unemployment. I don't know around the world where they are as well due to coronavirus, and just capitalism itself is in danger. Because it can't keep growing exponentially, and eventually you run out of resources, and it can't keep going like this. We need a better system, and this isn't going to cut it. So politics, you have no stimulus package in the United States, no help for people. They gave one $1,200 check back in March, and you're expected to live on that for the next 7 months. Unemployment, they're not extending the unemployment for those who are unemployed and qualified. So that's going to run out for people soon. You also have the unemployment supplement, which ran out in August, so people aren't getting help that way. So I don't know what these politicians think is going to happen. Basically, they're treating us like pawns. You have 13 million people unemployed in the United States, plus more than that, because that's just the people that are reporting for unemployment. And then there's other people who just gave up, and I know many who have done that and not even bother trying. Food lines in the United States, believe it or not, the land of plenty, extend up to several miles in some places. So it's really a horrible situation going on there. You have 8 million people in the United States have been infected with coronavirus, and you have 220,000 that have already died in the United States. And I think around the world is 40 million have now been infected with coronavirus. Basically, we're pawns. You got Pelosi, who's the head of the House of Representatives, and you got McConnell, the head of the Senate, opposing parties, and they're both at odds with each other, and they're trying to gain political points when in reality they should be more concerned about the people. So, this is your party, Democrats and Republicans, and if you're getting screwed over, look no farther than the mirror as far as who's to blame for that. Silence is complicity, and everyone's silent concerning climate change and also the politics of what's happening. I think there's a magic bullet about voting people in or voting people out. That's just the same system. It's not changing. It's a corrupt system in the United States. It's a failed state, and things are just going to hell in a handbasket, and people realize that, but they're too chicken and not put up against a wall enough to actually do something about it. Eventually it'll come home to roost in your own family, and then you'll feel like you have to do something, whether it's climate change or politics in general. So, right now we got these 4 buffoons running for office. You got the 2 presidential candidates and the 2 vice presidential candidates. And they really are buffoons concerning climate change. They're total idiots, or they're extremely sinister. And I want to believe that they're buffoons, but I kind of believe in my heart of hearts that these people are sinister. They have to know what's happening. They have advisors. They have people like myself or other people that are telling them that something is severely wrong and why it's severely wrong. So, they're not doing anything. The last debate that was with the vice presidential debate, my family watched that, and we were shocked at how much they were fighting over who believes in fracking the most. Fracking is a horrible way to extract fossil fuels, and it's an admission that they really don't get the severity of climate change and what's happening. We're at risk as far as surviving and all, and they got to wake up and stop treating us like we're political pawns, and think that everyone's going to continue to vote for these people the way it is. But right now, the United States and their population are very uninformed and don't care, and are willing to sleepwalk their way to their own deaths. Extinction is forever, and this isn't just going to be a pleasant death either for everyone. It's going to be some horrible starvation, roving gangs, military operations, martial law. This is what's coming our way around the whole world. You all better wake up as to what's happening concerning climate change. You risk government collapse, meaning they won't be there for you. They proved that during the coronavirus, and they're proving it now, that they're not there for you, and they're not willing to take away the money from the very wealthy and distribute it to those in need and for social programs. So the government will not be there for you. Wake up already, okay? You're running the risk of fascism, police state, military intervention, military bases around the world also with climate change. 2/3 of them are in jeopardy due to climate change, whether it's floods, social unrest, and various things. So 2/3 of military bases are in trouble. We run the risk of severe depression, economic depression, also mental depression. The population of the United States, they're on a precipice. They can't take much more, and we're very not resilient people compared to other countries. And, we're not tough. And our politicians treat us like children, and that we can't handle the truth. And the people are treating themselves like children, saying we don't want the truth. Just handle it for us, and we'll be good boys and girls, and just wait for dinner to come. You got to actually be proactive as to what's happening, and you can't keep going this way. It's ridiculous. So you guys are better than this. We're better than this. I'm better than this, and we need to become informed of what's happening. I know you're smarter than this as well. Sitting at home and watching some stupid game show when the whole world's about to fall to pieces is not a good idea. You need to do your research, and I really suggest you go down this webpage that you're watching right now. And I've got 6 years at least of information about climate change all the way back. So just allowing your loved ones to die this horrible death is just, it's unconscionable. I mean, I can't believe people are willing to do this, allow their kids and their wives and their husbands and brothers and sisters and moms and dads just go down this precipice and run the risk of what's happening. Things are not going well, and you need to wake up as to what's happening and understand what's happening, and quit believing your politicians are going to solve all your problems, because it's part of a corrupt system. And right now it's as corrupt can be. So I suggest everyone wake up. So you need to talk with other people, and you need to have an open discussion as to what's going to happen. And I suggest you get your wills together, because between all these viruses and everything going on, and the crazy society, because the election's coming up, like these trucks go by this whole talk and they're giving me the evil eyeball, like I'm some sort of horrible person because I got climate change and about farmers and floods and droughts and fires on my sign here. And it's kind of a bizarre situation. Rather than thumbs up or whatever, you get the evil eye. So this climate change thing has become a charged political issue, and I guarantee I guarantee in 3 years this will no longer be a political issue. This will be a survival issue. So we're going to start seeing the severe consequences, I would think, by 2023, and that's 2.5 years from now. And I think we're going to have trouble surviving past 2026 unless something severe happens and people start getting to it and stop sitting on their hands and acting like everything's okay. So wake up already. That's my admonition. I'm really unhappy with everyone and what's happening right now as far as lack of action. I don't need your thanks for, people walk by and go, thanks for doing that. No, get your ass out here and do something. Get your family out here and start doing something. You have to protest. You have to get in the streets. You have to get in your politicians' faces whenever you can. So I recommend you go down the webpage, as I said. Tanya is on here too, occasionally on talks as well. That's my wife. And also I recommend you go into Facebook or YouTube for Environmental Coffee House. Roger Hallam, who's a professor in England and is co-founder of Extinction Rebellion. He's really good. You got Peter Carter, Peter Wadhams, and Paul Beckwith, who's a professor up in Canada, who is an expert on talks as well. So get to it, please. Hurry up. quit waiting so long. This is sad, and it's extremely frustrating because, you know, you think it's all about you, but no, you're pulling your own neighbors down as well. This is going into the gutter, and you're dragging everyone else with it by inaction and lack of talking about it. Your politicians are not going to solve your problem, okay? It's a corrupt system right now, and you have to admit this is corrupt. And these four buffoons or whatever running for office aren't going to solve anything. They're corporatists, and they're not going to save you, and they have no intent in saving you unless you get extreme and get out in the streets and start protesting. So wake up. I don't know what to do. All right, see you later. Bye.